I can tell you, we're very appreciative of you letting us here. You've worked great with Lance, and so it's yours for everybody.
It's great. Thank you so much for coming. Several of you have been here before. Welcome back. We are grateful to partner with our communities and help out any way we can. So we love having you here. We're starting to gear up to a very busy construction season. A lot of things going on, a lot of grants in motion that we're waiting to hear on. We're hopeful to make Barron County the first fully gig community or county in Wisconsin. So we appreciate all your support, help. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. If they're not a Mosaic customer, consider us. We've got lots of miles of fiber plowed, so very excited, very excited. So once Domenico gets here, I would expect that he will probably pop in. He's running late from a meeting, so any questions for me?
Keep up the good work.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yes, sir.
Last week, the highway department had our town day.
Yes, in a garage, yes.
And, we also had it here last fall because the facility under construction, we don't have the room to do that. Say thank you to us.
Absolutely, anytime, thank you. Yeah, it's great. We had to clean our garage anyway, our annual meeting is next week.
Thanks, Tammy.
We have 2 minutes to the official start. Oh, 1 minute. Oh, bless the Christ. Nice to meet you. Good morning, it's 9 o'clock. I'd like to welcome you all and congratulate all of you on being elected to the Barron County Board of Supervisors. But before I actually call the meeting to order, I'd like to make a quick announcement. For those of you who have not heard, I will be retiring within the next couple of months. Recruitment has already started. May is likely to be my last county board meeting, so I'll be able to say goodbye then. I'm not saying goodbye now, just letting you know that. And then the process will be, there'll be a full recruitment process, and then it'll come before you as a board to approve that appointment. And whoever does get that appointment will need to run for election in 2 years. My term is not up this fall, but it will be up in 2 years. So just a heads up on that. Okay, now I'll officially call the April 19th, 2022 County Board Reorganizational Order meeting. I, Dan Cook, County Clerk, have complied with open meeting public notification laws. Meeting notices are posted on the electronic meeting notice board on the first and second floor of the Government Center and the main floor of the Justice Center. In addition, all 5 county newspapers have been notified. And this agenda was posted on April 13th at 12:09 p.m. Okay, next is with great pleasure that I introduce to you Barron County Circuit Court Judge James Fabler, who will be administering the oath of office to newly elected county board members.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
39 years ago, I was elected DA, and at that time, I did everything for the county, so I also was the Corporation Counsel. So I spent a number of years doing what John does, and then later, the state changed that DA just did the criminal cases, so I didn't do county board work. So it's been 39 years that I've had contact with board members, not our remaining from 39 years ago. Okay? I'm still here, and I was reelected 2 weeks ago or a week ago. So my plan, God willing, is another 6 years to get to see me. So hopefully I will see all of you another 6 years. But I ask all of you to stand and then raise your right hand. And I'm going to ask you to repeat after me. And then first part you're going to say I and then your name. So I.
Gary Texto.
have been elected
have been elected
to the county board
to the county board
supervisor
supervisor
in district number
8
in and for said county,
for said county,
Barron,
Barron,
in said state,
in said state,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin.
and will faithfully discharge
I will faithfully discharge
duties of the office
the duties of the office
of district supervisor
of district supervisor
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge Babler. Wendy's gonna be handing out your oath now. Please sign that and be sure you leave that with us before you leave today. That's something that's filed in my office. Okay, now that you're all sworn in and official, I will take attendance. Dana Heller,
Here.
Robert Anderson,
Here.
Stan Buchanan,
Here.
Audrey Kuselik,
Here.
Bill Efforts,
Here.
Craig Turcott,
Here.
Gail Heineke,
Here.
Bob Rogers,
Here.
Diane Vaughn,
She's absent, excuse.
she is absent, John Banks,
Here.
Terry Lee,
Here.
Carolyn Bartlett, here, Pam Fall, here, Bill Schradel,
Present.
Gary Taxell,
Yes,
Jim Gores,
Present.
Gary Nelson,
Here.
Roberta Mosentein, here, Pete Olson,
Here.
Kathy Krug, here, Carol Moen, here, Fran Langman,
Here.
Louis Oki,
Here.
Patty Anderson,
Here.
Randy Cook,
Here.
Jerry McRoberts,
Here.
Mark Thompson,
Present.
Brunel Hanson,
Here.
Stacy Wenzel.
Here.
Okay, this time we have 28 of 29 present. Next up is our invocation. Is Pastor Bob Pittman here today? Well, as luck would have it, we have a plan B. Pastor Cody Cargus from Maranatha is in the house, and he's going to take invocation for us. Thank you, Cody.
Joel, sing it, please. You join me in a word of prayer. Lord, we thank you for this day and this opportunity to gather together. And I just pray for those who are sworn in. I pray that they would see that they are servants of the people, here to care for our county, servants of the different areas that they will serve in, but ultimately servants of you, as you have appointed them to be liaisons and spokespeople. I pray in their hearts they would know what is right and just and do what is right and just in their roles. And we thank you for their time and service. We also thank you for this county. We pray that you just bless it as you continually do. As spring is upon us, we pray for the farmers. We pray for all the agricultural aspects of our county. And Lord, finally, we thank you for our law enforcement. Protect us day and night. May your hand be upon them. We thank you for their service. We thank you for their hearts. They care. As we think of this past Easter season, of the great verse, greater love hath no man than this, than a man lay down his life for his friends. And I thank you that that is still ingrained in law enforcement today. This I pray in Jesus' name.
Amen.
to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next on the agenda is special matters and announcements.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. First, as I said before, I want to thank them today for letting us use this room. They've been very gracious. They've been working with Lance in advance to get this to go so smoothly. So at this point, Chris, you're on with the Lifesaver Awards, as I put in my update.
Perfect. Thank you, Captain Bauer, who's going to help me today. I want to thank you for allowing me to take some time to recognize several people today. as in the past, and I think it's very relevant with the new county board, that you're now part of something pretty special. Something that every member in my department and all of our county departments believe in, and how much we work as a team. Not only the sheriff's department, but with each county department and outside agencies. This is one trait you will see that's very different than other parts of the state. I want to start by reading part of our mission statement, and it reads that members of the Barron County Sheriff's Department are committed to excellence in service through teamwork and community involvement in order to promote a safe and secure environment. It ends with, we are a united team committed to excellence in order to meet the community needs. A couple of those words stand out, teamwork and excellence, and today I have some people I'm going to bring before you that show exactly why they do what they do. On Saturday, March 19th at 12:05 a.m., the Barron County Sheriff's Department received a call of a possible snowmobiler that had gone through the water. Deputy Eric Sedani and Heather Hughes responded to the scene, as well as the Cameron Fire, Chetek and Mayo EMS, and the Chetek Fire and Dive Team. As Deputy Sedani and Heather Hughes evaluated the scene to determine if the missing snowmobiler had gone through the water, hit something on shore, went a different direction, or even broke down on the lake, to look around, as well as some community members. As they walked out onto the lake, Deputy Sedani went through the ice. He was rescued by Nick Johnson and Justin Bernardin, who couldn't be here today. They both work in the cities, and we appreciate them. We have an award for both of them. As Nick and Justin took Eric to shore, after Deputy Hughes went through the ice, she heard something and continued to look. So, after a short time later, she located Matt, the missing snowmobile, in the water. She radioed her location and advised fire personnel on shore of her location with her flashlight. She then went through the water. For the next 20 minutes, kept herself and Matt afloat while the Chetek divers got to her and pulled her out, pulled both of them to safety. They were both treated by the Mayo and Chetek ambulance staff and taken to area hospitals, where today they're both back at work. I want to recognize the Cameron Fire Department, the Chetek Fire Department, the Mayo ambulance staff, the Chetek ambulance staff for the work they did that night, and they do every day. Our volunteer and full-time fire departments play vital roles in our community, bigger than any of us ever know until we need them. And I want our community to recognize the job they've done. So I know Mayo's here, Cameron Fire couldn't be here, and Chetek Fire, and it could be here. So if Mayo wants to come up, Captain Bowers has an award for Mayo, and we will drop off the rest of our awards at that event, at an event at their fire meeting. But they do an unbelievable job, our ambulances, our volunteer fire departments, and when they have a fundraiser, please go. I mean, they are just vital roles to what we do. Last thing, I want to recognize the two deputies in front of you. They are truly life-saving efforts and selfless acts. A funny part of the story was, and Heather will kill me for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. She's at the hospital recovering after she'd been in the water for 30 plus minutes, almost 30 plus minutes. The only thing she had in her mind is helping a victim that she just had left the house prior to this call. And that was an elderly couple that had been scammed out of some money, and they realized it at about 10 o'clock at night. She went on this call, and the only concern was that somebody get to that package that was going to be delivered by UPS in the morning so that these people could get their money. That was her only concern. She didn't care about nothing else. She said, I'm fine, but someone's got to work on that. Deputy Welker actually finished that case. We weren't able to recover the money because it was out of state already, but that was her only concern. That's the dedication that you have before you. So what you have is heroes in my eyes, and all of these people tell me that they do their job and they don't want any recognition for it. But I believe it's important to recognize deputies like these up here for the job that they do every day. So please, I guess we have awards for both of them, and they basically say the Barron County Sheriff's Department gives a certificate of appreciation for their heroism and life-saving efforts during the ice rescue on March 19, 2022. Signed by Jeff French and myself, Deputy Heather Hughes and Deputy Eric Sedani, along with Mayo and the rest of the people. Please give them a round of applause. Thank you for giving me the time, I appreciate it.
A couple things just for special matters and announcements for people to be aware of. for county board members that were newly elected. The first year that you're elected to the county board, you get to go to the Wisconsin Counties Association Annual Conference for free. It's going to be held September 18th to the 20th at the Wisconsin Dells. If anybody on the board wants to go, we have to know by noon on the 29th. Noon on the 29th, you have to let Wendy know. We're going to reserve a block of 12 rooms automatically, but if we need more than 12 rooms, we'll get them that day. We can give rooms back, but typically after about the first week in May, you can't get rooms. You can give them back, but you can't get them. So that's what we're gonna do. So if you're interested in going, let Wendy know, and this is covered in our budget. You'll learn a lot by attending that. So another thing is, for new board members, you are going to get inundated with workshops from all kinds of people from all over the US. We don't pay for workshops. That's not a per diem, we don't pay for that. A workshop, we pay for meetings where we have agendas and minutes. We don't pay for workshops, so be very aware of that. As Jess Miller used to tell new board members, you can spend every Wednesday of your life for ad infinitum at Stevens Point at workshop. Used to joke about that, because you will get hammered with workshops anyways. New board member training, I've handed it out to the 7 new board members. We're gonna begin at 12:30 on Wednesday, I believe it's May 4th. We'll start at 12:30. It'll be a pretty long day. Please plan on getting your agenda or your day planner cleared for that day. A lot of department heads want to present, so we'll go through a lot of things. Then, based on what we do at the board meeting here later, we want to start building tours. Say at the Justice Center in May, out the waste energy plant in June, some things like that. So all the board members would be invited. We begin the meeting, do some tours, and then end up at 7 o'clock over at the government center to begin the meeting. So those are the things that I have. Madam Clerk, when we record the agenda, I ask that it be recorded as flexible so that I can do updates while you're counting votes. Would that be appropriate, please?
So next up, we will approve the agenda for today's meeting. With keeping in mind that there will be time fillers where Jeff will, when we're counting and doing the ballot situation, so just keep that in mind. May I have a motion to approve today's agenda? Olson, second by Thompson. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, please say nay. That motion carried. So at this time, we're gonna go around the room and have everybody, newly elected and re-elected supervisors, give just a brief overview of themselves because of so many new people who don't know the people who have been here before. It just seemed appropriate for everyone to have a couple minutes just to introduce themselves prior to our election of our board leadership. So again, take up to a couple minutes if you want, say what you feel comfortable saying. I think we'll probably start with Louis Oki.
Hi, I'm Louis Oki. I was the county board chairman for the last 4 years. I am going to try to run for that again this term. I've been on the board 10 years and thoroughly enjoy it, and I think you'll enjoy this experience. This is one of the more difficult meetings, and I know it's kind of like taking a drink out of a fire hose for the new people and stuff coming at you, you know. But anyway, I'm glad the new people are here, and just welcome. Thank you.
Peter, Colonel.
I'm Carolyn Bartlett, I represent Supervisory District 5, which is Village of Dallas, part of the Dallas, Town of Dallas and Maple Grove. I've been on the board for 16 years and I have a background, a professional background of healthcare and banking, so, and I've had the opportunity to serve on a lot of the committees, in the county strategic planning, health and services, executive, and numerous others along the way. I certainly have enjoyed the work, and I look forward to working with all of you. Welcome.
Peter Olson, I represent Supervisor District 12, it's about half the seat here. I've been on the board a total of 9 years, 3 years now, and I was on the board from 2006 to 2012. Again, I've enjoyed it, it's been a good experience. Serve on Waste Energy Board and law enforcement committee, strategic planning. Been working with the highway department, construction facility, and so, welcome. Thank you.
morning, my name is Fran Langman, I'm from District 15. I'm a lifelong resident of the town of Sumner. My mom and dad brought me home from the hospital and I never left. There was a couple of years where it kind of got inconvenient until they found a place of their own. So we're the third generation, fourth generation Indians that live there. I got a chance to talk to Mr. Panier, thank him for his years of service. And I can hope that I can serve with as much passion as compassion as he did.
I'm Dana Heller from District 23. I grew up in the big town of Elmina, and I moved up to the big town of Rice Lake down, so I'm from the Rice Lake area. Been on the board for about 10 years. My experience has been in sales, marketing, and as well as technology, so I've had a lot of experience in that area. Been on a number of different committees, including the property committee, which has been great for the area. I think that the board is moving the right direction, and I think we have great leadership already. And I look forward to having all the other people join us and continuing that movement. Thank you.
Mark. Oh. I'm Mark Thompson. I've been on the county board. I was appointed in '99. And I've been on the highway committee right now, zoning, property. Anything that you get on is very interesting. You learn a lot.
Hi, Jim Forrest, I represent District 9, it's Colin Clinton and the village of Elmina. I'm currently on the waste energy committee and the extension committee, and also the highway committee, which I will hopefully get support from everybody to feedback on that one again. And I guess there's my way. I've had halfway for 25 years. She's had much of a husband for a lot longer than that. But anyhow, I have 2 grown kids and 2 grandkids.
I'm Brunel Hanson, better known as Bun. I represent the southeast corner of the city of Rice Lake. And county board, I think, is very close to our lives with Health and Human Services, Sheriff's Department, so I think it's one of the most important governmental agencies that we deal with. Garbage is my favorite committee. I know it should be solid waste, but it's still garbage. And it's just a good thing to be on this committee, and those of you that are new will find out how much you didn't know about what's going on. My other objective is to make the city of Rice Lake easier to get along with. When mayors of other towns call me and say, why is Rice Lake so hard to get along with? That's one of my objectives, is to make that better in the future. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Pam Paul, and I represent District 6, which is Town of Arlen, Prairie Farm Village, Summit Common, Prairie Farm, and a little bit now Albany. It's been just a real honor for me to serve on this board. I'm in my second tour of duty, so it's roughly about 25 years. But the opportunity that you will all have is just overwhelming, and the people you work with and the knowledge, it's truly been a great experience. So I wish you all good luck on, and whatever committees you are on, you'll, I'm sure, going to enjoy working.
Good morning, I'm Roberta Rosenstein. They all know me as Funky. So if you say Roberta, they will know who you're talking about. I was out of the city council affair, first woman for 20 years, and retired. And then in the meantime, I said to my husband, because he was sitting home, I told him to get on to the county board. And he did. And then after he passed, I got a phone call, and they taken out some breakfast, and they asked me to be on the county board. And I went, really? And so I just love it. I do, it keeps my brain going, drives someone crazy because it does. But, you'll learn a lot, and, you know, the old saying is listen for a while really works. You know, don't just, well, I'm gonna do this, well, you know, it takes time to get your feelings across to the rest of your people you're working with. So I enjoy it, I just love it, I'm on the sheriff's department, and I'm on the highway, and I would like to stay on both, because that's where I am for now. Thank you.
I am Randy Cook, much like Francis, born and raised here in Barron County, with the exception of 5 years. I was for Falls, education, and brought back to the area, Mrs. Cook, who was soon to be retired like myself. I spent out of school, spent 6 years teaching here at Cameron High School. I was Miss Arts in school back in the day. I love teaching, went to work for USDA, School Weekend Sabbatical, to try out their executive director training program. And I didn't go back, I spent 31 years with USDA FSA, first as a district or county director, and then as a regional manager. I covered 14 to 18 offices from Ashland to Durant and Anago and elsewhere. I currently serve on the Barron Electric Board as board president, which I thoroughly enjoy. Much like a lot of committees, once you get involved, you understand the complications of that. I have a chance to work with Pete in the capacity when we're looking for a manager, so we've gone through those processes as well. It's good to be here. I have 2 children. COVID did one thing that I appreciate, and that is work from home. We have a son-in-law and a daughter. They're both scientists, not working from home. And occasionally I have to go to Madison, and our son works in the Barron County Sheriff's Department. Joel Sargent. Thank you.
My name is Bill Edwards, I represent District 27. It's going into my second elected term. I was appointed when a friend of mine passed away, Terry Hank. And currently on the property committee and highway safety committee. And I'm married and I have 2 children and 3 grandchildren, and just enjoying my retirement.
I'm Bobby Henderson, I represent area 24, which is on the east side of Race Lake. I'm on 5 committees.
You want it?
Military police in the Army, then came back to Race Lake, and originally born and raised in Turtle Lake, and then emergency management for Barron County, was a full-time firefighter for 23 years in the Race Lake Fire Department, and now I sell real estate and here in
I'm Bob Rogers. I represent the #1 district. Stated another way, that's District 1. My last real job was as Deputy Corporation Counsel here in Barron County, working with John Minch. And my last not-real job was as radio disc jockey of the WJMC in Rice Lake. This is beginning my 4th year on the, or 4th term rather, on the county board. I serve on solid waste property committee and the zoning committee. We're looking for a couple new people for zoning. Keep it in mind, it's really fun. I've been in perhaps 50 plays in the last 40 years here in Northwest Wisconsin. I've enjoyed that. I'm co-director of the Tech Warehouser drama program. Right now, my project is tapping maple trees in my yard. I've got 6 barrels or 6 buckets out, and I have the most expensive maple syrup in the whole world, the way I make it. But it reminds me of something my dad did. Doing that is priceless.
Carol Mullen, I represent District 14, which is part of Cameron and part of Stanley. I've been on the board about 12 years, starting at 13, so I don't know if this sounds like it or not. But I've worked on zoning in the past, and now I'm working with property, health and human services. And, let's see, housing, we're applying for low income housing, applying for rehab. Our units, we just need to project, we're just hoping we can help with that. I have a family of 4 children, 3 of which are in farm enterprise we have now. And then fourth one just retired as a lieutenant colonel in the Army, got 30 years of service. Now he's teaching camp. I would really like to encourage and welcome all of you new people. I'm sure you'll have a really interesting and informative time on the board. Thank you very much.
I'm Audrey Cruz. I represent District 26, which is Stanford and Cumberland Township minus the city. My husband Jim and I moved back to the area in 1999 and purchased a dairy farm in Maple Township. We have 4 children, 3 of which are living in Barron County, and 1 beautiful granddaughter, Katie, who lives in Barron County as well. Thank you.
I'm John Banks, I represent District 3, which is wards 2, 3, and 4 in the city of Chautauqua. This is my second go-around on the county board. I served in the late 90s. I took George Webb's place, and then I was appointed here 3 years ago to take Ken Joe's place, representing the city of Chautauqua in that area. I currently serve on the Health and Human Services Board, and I am the retired district administrator from the Prairie Farm School District, and I'm very proud of the Prairie Farm District. We did some wonderful building programs down there, and it has served that district very well. I'm also the former mayor of the city of Chautauqua, and I retired for 40 years serving in public education, so I do have quite a range of experience. Welcome everybody new to the county board. It's going to be an interesting experience. And yes, Bob needs some help on zoning because that is one of the most fun organizations in the city, right? Would that be it?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. All right, thank you very much.
My name is Terry Lee. I represent District 4, which is basically Prairie Lake Township. I think I've been on 8 years, I'm not sure, looking, but been on 4 or 5 boards, 2 that are active, Economic Development and the Regional Business Fund, which I really enjoy, so I have fun with that. Background, basically in small business background, a book called Business Fits. Marla and I vacationed here for years and moved up a while back, and ended up getting on here. Also write a blog. Marla also is an author. She's working on her 10th suspense novel now. And so I guess that's about it. Oh, I've done a few community plays too. In fact, that's how I met Bob Rogers. We were both in 12 Angry Men. I'd done them in high school and then off stage for about 40 years. And Marla saw tryouts for that, and I said, that sounds interesting, so got me in more trouble.
Hi, I'm Patty Anderson, and I'm newly elected to District 17, which is the village of Hagen, Bear Lake, part of Lakeland, and part of Oak Grove. I'm a transplant 25 years ago. We did the reverse retirement program. We came from Florida to Wisconsin, and living on Bear Lake. Prior to living on Bear Lake in Florida, I owned and operated a landscaping and lawn maintenance business. I also owned a beauty salon. I was not a cosmetologist. I was just a guinea pig for all the new products that the girls needed to try out. Being here 25 years, I became a domestic engineer. And for 3.5 years, I did do caregiving to my husband who passed away last September. And I am ready now to serve my community and to give back to those that helped us during the tough years that we had. And so I know this is a paid position, so I am donating back to the fire department because the first responders were fabulous over the years, coming to our house so many times. And then also to the American Legion Auxiliary, which I am a member of. The Poppy Fund will get money from me also from this job. And the Poppy Fund is solely used for financial and medical help to veterans. I'm an avid gardener and I'm a member of the Rice Lake Garden Club and I love to quilt. And I do Quilts of Valor, as Kathy does here, and active in church. I'm a dog mom, a regular mom, and I am a grandmother, and I look forward to working with you and for my district. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Kathy Wu, and I represent Village of Camp, part of it, District 13. And where do you start when you're this old?
You're only 29.
So for the last 57 years, I've been a hairdresser, I've been a corporate manager, business owner, sat on a few different boards, Cedar Mall Board of Directors, Church Council. My heart is with the veterans, and so I'm a volunteer for the Quilts of Valor. My family was all veterans and served their communities in different ways, and I just want to continue with that. Whatever I can do here to help my community. And I appreciate all the wonderful benefits that we get from the Constitution, and so I like to think of things along those lines. And I'm very excited to be here. I'm happy to be representing Cameron. Been at Cameron for 44 years. A lot of people know me by my face. And but not my name. I started and organized a bluegrass festival at the Pioneer Village Museum 15 years ago, and that's still going strong. And in September, we'll have our 6th annual bluegrass festival with some great musicians that are going to be there, and I hope to turn everybody into bluegrass. Thank you very much.
Morning, everybody. I'm Gary Nelson. I represent District 10, which is the geographical center of the county, which is town of Barron, and the western edge of the town of Stanley. My wife and I have been long life residents of the county and believe it's a great place to visit, a better place to live. And I've served on the county board for this is my 5th term. So served on 5 different committees, and highways hearing, housing authority, and serving on this board and the committees that we serve, which is quite an honor and a blessing as well. The residents that are your neighbors live here, and hope that you have the ability to make good, solid decisions, and it's just a proud thing to serve.
Turn my back on you. My name is Jeremy Robertson. I represent District 19 for the city of Rice Lake. We've lived here in Barron County now for 52 years, so, and I worked for Nabisco for 32 years, and then I retired, so I've been retired for 22 years now, 26 years I think it is that I've been retired. So anyway, I want to thank Duke Thurs and Jesse Miller, our former chair, for getting me on this. They talked me into it. I said, well, what if I don't like it? They said, well, quit after a year if you don't like it. Well, today I'm starting my 17th year, so, on the board, so. Anyway, and I'm on the LCC extension property, the museum, and the executive. And then my funnest one of all is just because of the name. I'm representing Barron County for the Dummy Lakes Association. So, and there actually is a Dummy Lakes. People, Cumberland can attest to it. So, anyway, and I would welcome all the new members in today. This is the most new members we've had now since I've been on the board at one time. So, it's interesting, and I think, hope you guys love it as much as I do after your first year or so. So, and anyway, I think that's about all. I think we've got a great county board, and anyway, I don't think we praise ourselves enough for the good things that the county does. And anyway, and I think we'll continue on with this, I know with our new members. Anyway, and it, hopefully you'll all be here for 17 years, and I'll see you then, so. Anyway, thank you.
I'm Craig Turcott, newly elected board member representing District 28, which would be wards 2, 3, and 4 in Cumberland. I currently sit on the Cumberland Municipal Board. I educated in the county in accounting, but by trade, I'm a builder by trade, and just look forward to serving the county and what's best in their best interests. Thank you.
Dale Meineke. I've been represent District 29, which is Maple Plains Township and half Lake. For 15 years. Born and raised county, so township, and for been there for 15 years. Also on highway committee, zoning with Bob. Married, have 2 kids, 4 grandchildren, 5 great grandchildren. So, thank you.
I'm Stacy Wendell. I represent District 22, which is in Rice Lake. This is my second term, so I was elected during COVID, and then appointed to the Service Board, which was a lot of fun also during the pandemic. And I switched to zoning. I have 2 grown children. One is still in high school. I have homeschooled both of them all the way through. I work at Maranatha Evangelical Church in the office, and my boss is if I could echo what Roberta Funky said about when you're a new board member, just wait and listen and learn. It's very helpful. I've been on 2 years now. Now I feel like I can start speaking a little bit about some things. Thank you.
I'm Stan Buchanan. I represent District 25. That's the northern and western part of the town of Rice Lake. I'm a retired civil engineer. I think I've been on the board for 10 years. For sure, my committees are law enforcement, and I've been on the executive committee and some other smaller committees. Over the time I've been on the board, I've learned a lot. I'm still looking forward to learning more. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Bill Shreel. I represent the township of Turtle Lake and Vance Creek. I'm on the Waste Energy Committee by these 3 fine gentlemen back there. It's been a pleasure to work with them, and I think we're going up and forward real fast with the help of Jeff and John and some other people that serve on here. And to tell you how old I am, Bob was a classmate of our oldest daughter, so I guess that tells you. So anyway, I was in the military for a couple of years, and their infant wisdom said you're better off drinking beer in Germany than fighting to be in COG, so I was real happy with that. So I welcome all you new folks, and we will learn a lot. And I've been on the board, I don't know, I've checked with you, and it's been a while. And I was a citizen member for a couple of years on Waste Energy, one of these guys who run. But anyway, welcome and thank you very much.
I think we've got everyone here. Gary? Gary, would you like to?
Well, I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, last but not least, my name's Gary Taxtall. I'm representing District 8 of Turtle Lake area. I am on my 4th term as county board. My wife Diane and I have been married 47 years. We have 3 adult children, 10 grandchildren, and 2 great-granddaughters. I was born in Cannon Falls, Minnesota. I'm 100% Norwegian. Graduated from Cannon Falls High School. I have a business administration degree from Winona State. I went through long-term care administration program, University of Minnesota, Twin Cities. I'm a Vietnam veteran, U.S. Air Force, life member of the VFW and DAV, Disabled American Veterans, a member of American Legion. I was the administrator at Pioneer Nursing Home in Prairie Farm, and which is owned by the Village of Prairie Farm. I was an administrator at Polk County's 114-bed Golden Age Manor for 25 years in Amory. That's where I met Jeff French at Golden Age Manor when he was an auditor with Tracy and I think Sol. He was auditing our books for Polk County, and I think that was the late 90s or early 2000s. I can't remember. I've been on the state nonprofit nursing home board for 12 years, the Wisconsin Association of County Homes for 10 years, Polk County Transportation and Elderly and Disabled for 25 years. I am past a member of the Prairie Farm Lions Club, past president of the Amory Lions Club, past president of the Turtle Lake Lions Club, charter member and past president of Woodland Lakes Rotary Club, past president of the Amory Community Club, past member of First Lutheran Church Council, and past member of the Upper Turtle Lake District Board. I'm kind of a has-been this, has-been that. I substitute teach at Turtle Lake in Clayton for the last 5 years, and I retired in 2011. And I enjoy being on the county board, and it was interesting to know Jeff all these years, and he's done a great job as administrator, and Louis done a great job as county chair, and everybody functions very, very well in Barron County. It's an easy county to be a supervisor on, because I know of other counties that have total turmoil all the time, but Barron County runs really smooth. And congratulations to everybody for re-election, and congratulations to everyone that was elected. And hopefully I'll see you in person next month.
Okay, thank you. I think that was time well spent. Did we miss anyone? Okay, then next on the agenda is approving the minutes from the March 21st, 2022 meeting. And I would entertain a motion to, motion by Banks and second by Stradel. All those in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed, say nay. Okay, that carries. Next up on the agenda is public comment, and we do have one public comment today. Russell Rinzig, would you care to speak? I don't know. Did he? So he's still here, okay. Please state your name and address.
Russell Rinzig, 2106 29.5 Avenue, Town of Oak Grove. This is my 14th year going to county board meetings, 10 while I was sitting on the board. I look back over the 14 years, I've missed 3 county board meetings. Losing the election doesn't mean that I lost interest in the Barron County Board. And I will continue to come to the meetings and try to participate when I have the opportunity during public comment. If I something that's useful to do that. I felt that over the last 10 years, we've had an outstanding county board. In particular, our leadership in the last 4 years under Louis has been great. We have one of the best county administrators in the state, and I easily the best county financial person in the state, Mrs. Bush. And I hope that the county works as well going forward as it has during the last years. Over the last 10 years, whenever I left a county meeting, it wasn't necessarily that I agreed with everything that was voted on that night. I never left angry at an individual. And I could go out in the parking lot and talk to anybody and felt comfortable doing so. And I hope that this kind of spirit continues on in Barron County. And like I say, I'm going to be coming to the meetings because I have the interest. And I also will put in a pitch since others have put in pitches for other things that I hope some of you show up at the Vet Center in Rice Lake, where I spend a whole lot of my time for our meals and our events. And come to the Barron County Fair, where I'm the president, and I would welcome you all there. So, thank you for the years that I have spent.
Thank you. Okay, next up on the agenda will be the election of our elected position. Before we go into that, I'm going to have our corporation counsel give an overview of the process that we use for electing our board leadership.
Good morning.
Good morning.
On the election today, the first thing we're going to be doing is electing the board leadership. And we will do the chair, first vice chair, and second vice chair in that order. Following the election of the leadership, we'll turn to the election of the only elected committee that we have left is the highway committee. And I'll explain that process just before we do that. It's a little bit different than for the board leadership. What our rules provide is that the chairman, first vice chair, second vice chair will be nominated by a ballot, and they speak for not more than 5 minutes. They'll be chosen in that order. So first we're going to do the election of the chairman, chair, chairman, chairwoman. If there's more than 2 candidates that appear on the ballot, then we're going to, it's the top 2 vote getters. And then we'll have a second ballot, and whoever receives the majority vote will be the winner. Now, for purposes of voting today, it's a majority vote. We have 1 supervisor missing, so that would still be 15 would be the majority. However, Mr. Taxdahl is appearing by video, and we're not set up for him to vote because it has to be by secret ballot, or for the leadership it's a secret ballot. So you don't have to initial your ballot. We don't have a way for him to ballot. The elections are set up to be done in person. Perhaps that'll change in the new county board meeting room or the electronics, but right now that's not possible. So for purposes of majority vote for the leadership today, it will be 14 is the majority. So again, if there's more than 3 people, we'll take 2 top vote getters, we'll move forward. There'll be a second ballot then, and whoever receives the majority vote will be declared the chair. Then we'll move on and do the same thing for the first vice chair, and the second thing for the second vice chair. And again, these are secret ballots, so you do not need to initial these for leadership. That's the only time you're allowed to have secret ballots. For the highway one, it's a different process. Only vote for 1 on the nomination as well. For the nomination, you vote for 1. Please fold them over when you're done. If you don't want to see it, I'll hand it to the clerk. I do not want to see it, sir.
You can sing.
Please don't.
Okay. Receiving nominations for the position of chair are Louis Oki, Bob Rogers, and Bill Efforts. So at this time, I will ask whether you accept that nomination or not. Louis, do you accept that nomination?
Yes, I do.
Bob Rogers, do you accept the nomination?
I do not.
You do not. Bill Efforts, do you accept the nomination?
I do not, thank you.
Okay. So at this point, the only person on the ballot is Louis Oki.
Accept the motion from the body to cast unanimous.
I need a
ballot.
motion.
I move, so cast unanimous consent.
Okay, is there a second? Bob Rogers? Cook, and second. Okay, all those in favor of casting a unanimous ballot to elect Louis Oki as chair, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, please say nay. Congratulations, Chair Oki. Duly now done.
Thank you, everybody, for putting your faith in me. I'll try to do the best I can for the citizens of Barron County.
Just a 15-minute speech.
Okay, I guess item number 10B, we'll go on to the county board vice chair election.
We'll use the same process. We'll circulate a nomination ballot with everyone's name with the exception of Louis. We're creating that right now. It'll take just a moment. But John, your question?
Who was the past vice chair, first vice chair?
Don Horstman. Don Horstman was first vice chair and Don Hanson was second vice chair.
Okay, so
that's open to anyone, right?
yeah, you can.
It's open to anybody.
You can nominate anyone, including yourself. We'll take us just a moment here. We'll circulate ballots and go through that very same process.
Anybody isn't where the bathroom, because they didn't have the bathroom right across from all the fences, here the ladies is there. I mean, a lot of laughter, once they doesn't care, there's a phone, land, so. Yeah, clean up, whatever, please feel free to do so. Maybe we'll just seriously start tallying these up. I'll get
Did everyone get it turned in?
I think that we did. Get one extra one. Get a blank.
Oh, here, I got one.
Okay.
Yeah, I need more.
Are there any ballots still remaining?
Okay, receiving nominations for the position of vice chair are Carolyn Bartlett, Jim Gores, Bill Efforts, Pete Olson, Randy Cook, Bob Rogers, Dana Heller, and Bud Hanson. Now I'm gonna go around and ask each of you if you accept or decline that nomination. Carolyn Bartlett.
I'll accept.
Accept, okay. Jim Gores.
I'll accept.
Accept. Bill Efforts.
No, thank you.
Pete Olson.
Yes, I'll accept.
Randy Cook.
I would rather not.
Dana Heller.
I do not.
You do not? Okay, did I miss anybody? Bob Rogers.
I accept.
Okay.
You missed one answer.
And Bud Hanson.
I do not.
You do not? Okay. Sure we did not, make sure we did not. Okay, Bartlett accepted, Gores did accept,
Pete Olson.
Pete Olson accepted, Bob Rogers accepted,
Those are the four.
and Bill Efforts did not, Dana did not, and Bun did not. Randy Cook did not. Okay, is that correct? Are we incorrect? Okay, so then what we're gonna do is create a ballot with those who accepted the nomination. We will circulate that ballot. When we're done, you're gonna be allowed to vote for one. And as John explained the process, we'll probably have to narrow it down from there. So I guess if you want to do any kind of update, give us a minute to do this. It's kind of up to you. Otherwise, downtime's okay.
Do you want, what's the will of the board? Do you want downtime or do you want me to do updates?
They will have.
Updates.
So actually, what we should do right now is give each of you who accepted the
That's
couple
true,
minutes to go ahead
Yes.
and say why you've accepted the position and why we should vote for you.
And maybe let's not do the updates. I know we do usually speed things up, but we got 6 or 7 new members. This will give them time to process what's going on.
Okay, so each of you who accepted nomination, please stand up and give your reasons why we should vote for you. Let's start with Carolyn, I guess.
I can start. I've had this opportunity previously and I have tried to find it because of time. I've been on the board now for quite some time. I think I understand county government to some degree. Hopefully it could provide some assistance in this position. I have been on the Health and Human Services Board, Strategic Planning, the Safety Committee, a lot of those areas. I've always lived in Barron County for 45 years. I have farming besides my professional background being in healthcare. And since I'm going to look at some retirement here in the very near future, I feel now I have the time that I could spend and dedicate to this position. Previously, I did not believe I was going to have the time to do what might be needed. So I would be interested if you so say.
I have a question. Dana, were you a yes or a no?
I was no.
You were no. Okay. All right, Pete, go ahead, please.
I mentioned Pete Olson, I represent the city of Barron, part of the city of Barron. I have a total of 9 years on the board, 3 now and 6 previously. In that previous time on the board, I served as second vice chair from 2008 to 2012, so I have a pretty good understanding of what's involved in board leadership. Professionally, I'm retired. I worked in the financial services industry, healthcare, and utility industry before I retired. Those 3 give me a lot of good background. Between my experience on the county board as well as my professional experience on payroll.
Okay, Jim?
I'm Jim Morris. I have been on county board here now for 5 years. I have served board for 6 years as president, building the school and stuff like that. So I have a lot of experience with that. I have been county chairman for the county for I think it's 18 years now. since then have, retired. I mean, high school, but I'm retired. So I do have a lucrative schedule and stuff like that. I have, good understanding of what stuff is.
And I'm Bob Rogers. I want to echo what Punky and Stacy said earlier. One of the things you can do that will most be helpful is listen. Listen to the public. Listen to your peers here on the county board. Listen to the employees, the department heads for Barron County, and every one of the employees is how you're going to learn. Ask questions of those same people if you don't understand something or you need a clarification. Please ask questions. Make sure that issues are clear in your mind. So ask your peers, same folks I mentioned before. Do your research. Makes you a good county supervisor. It's something that attorneys have been taught to do ever since law school. So do that. For the zoning committee, all three of the things I mentioned come into play. I have listened, I've asked questions, I've done research. Our zoning ordinance is over 150 pages long. You're going to find many answers, virtually all of them, within that zoning ordinance. So please do your research. It's also important for you to be able to communicate. It's something I think I'm fairly good at. I've been on the radio, I've given oral arguments in court, I've given written briefs, I've written resolutions, I've been on stage for 40-some years. You aren't going to be terribly successful if you aren't able to communicate. Lastly, know when to shut up. I have reached that point right now, with the exception that I think I would do a good job as first vice chair. I would be honored to serve as first vice chair, and I would do my utmost to represent this body and the good folks of Barron County to the best of my ability.
Okay, thank you, all of you. We'll now circulate the ballot. Please vote for 1. Will we get a ballot?
You can get 3.
How are you? Pretty good.
Hey, Jeff said I got 3 minutes.
I think it's only you once.
Hi, nice to see you all.
I get elected though.
Yeah, you get elected. Or a job.
Really important stuff you guys do. Hey, we're really excited to have you and host you here. Just talked to Mark a minute ago about the Barron County Highway. We'd love to have you in our back area. Danny likes to do it because time to do that. Really have an annual meeting, right? It's, you guys do a lot of good stuff for the county. We really appreciate what you do. We like to be good partners. As a long-standing nonprofit in the community, we like to give back. I think we just awarded 500 in scholarships to local students, so that's always exciting. We have a really busy construction season coming up. So we have a $25 million Reconnect grant that we put in with the USDA. We're hopeful to hear back at the end of the year. That covers almost 100 square miles of unserved area in Barron County. We also participated in the Public Service Commission round. We submitted 6 grants, totaling $20 million in construction. Again, that's not only Barron County, but there are 2 grants in Barron County that also help to bridge
provide. So we're just excited. It's going to be a really busy year. We're hiring, so if you know of anybody that's looking for an outside plant engineer manager position, director of commercial sales, customer service representative, and we're going to continue to hire and staff and scale as we continue to grow as a company. So I think that's all I have outside of thank you and welcome, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. And I'd just like to say, as Mark mentioned, Mosaic let us use our town day here for the highway department. Obviously, we're here today. It's really helped in the past with tornadoes and a lot of other efforts. They're a good corporate partner. And I'll tell you the best thing. Everybody talks about rural broadband. Rural broadband, everybody needs it. COVID definitely got out the need for it. The boys don't, they talk to the game, they go out. They took the money and they went, they're taking care of our.
Absolutely. Thank you all.
Okay, the two candidates receiving the most votes for the position of vice chair are Bob Rogers and Carolyn Bartlett. So at this time, we're creating another ballot to circulate. Vote for one, and whoever is the top vote for the chair will be named vice chair. Did everyone get their today? Okay, we have results for the position of vice chair. Congratulations, Carolyn Bartlett, you've been elected to the position of vice chair. Okay, as we create another ballot for nomination for the position of second vice chair, it'll be the same process where you will nominate one person, we'll go through and let everybody know who got nominated, then give you your choice of whether or not you accept that nomination. So it'll take us a couple minutes here, we gotta take a couple names off. Okay, please mark your ballot for the position of second vice chair. Vote for one.
Gristle. Does that get your
Okay, we've got several people nominated here. I will read off the names first. Receiving nominations for the position of second vice chair are Diane Vaughn, Bob Rogers, Pete Olson, Dana Heller, Bud Hanson, Jim Gores, Randy Cook, and Bob Anderson. So, we'll go in that order. Now, since Diane isn't here, we checked with our corp counsel. And
My only concern is that she's actually not been sworn in on the county board yet. She was elected, but she's not seated.
Good point.
So, while if she had been sworn in, even though she's not here, she could be on the ballot. She's not seated as a county board member yet, so I don't think she can be elected to the leadership.
Okay, yeah, I would tend to agree with that. Okay, so, moving on, Bob Rogers.
I accept.
Accept? Pete Olson,
I accept.
Dana Heller,
I accept.
Bud Hanson,
I accept.
Jim Gores. Randy Cook. And Bob Anderson.
Not this time.
Okay, to make sure I have this correct, accepting the nomination are Bob Rogers, Pete Olson, Dana Heller, and Bud Hanson, correct? Okay, we'll now create a ballot and go through that very same process. I think at this time, we'll give each of them the opportunity again to speak and say why you should be elected to the position of second vice chair. Go ahead and start.
Not gonna repeat it, just appreciate your vote, and I believe I can do a good job of representing you. Thank you.
I appreciate the opportunity. I've been on the property committee vice chair for a number of years. I've also been on the economic development board of directors, as well as the executive committee in the past. I sit on the City of Rice Lake planning committee, as well as a number of other different committees and things, but probably the single most one that I enjoy greatest is being executor of a scholarship fund. So every year I give out upwards of $10,000 to graduating seniors, and that's actually got me involved in all the different high schools and their
staff in picking those students, which has been a lot of fun. I would look forward to the opportunity to support Carolyn and Louis in what they do, as well as each one of you in your different areas. And we'll look forward to your support in bringing the county board forward and continue to make great improvements like we have in the past. I appreciate it.
Bob, you have anything?
I've said my piece, I would appreciate your votes.
And then Bernal Hanson?
I've been on the county board for 2 terms and been vice chair for 2 times. I think I've done a good job. Anthony Sportsman, I but I.
Calling a person, right? In a moment, we'll be passing out the ballot.
Bring that stuff.
Yeah, well, I could, yeah. Yeah, but then you know, like,
Okay, so the top 2 vote getters for the position of second vice chair are Bun Hansen and Dana Heller. We will now create a ballot with those 2 names on it, and everyone will vote for one.
I really screamed that one.
Natives are getting restless. We're seeing. Okay, congratulations, Von Hansen, you've been elected to the position of second vice chair. Okay, moving on, the next positions will be elected would be for the highway committee. And typically in the past, what we've done is basically a self-declare of whether you are interested in being in that committee. If there are more than 5 people that are interested in being on the committee, we'll then create a ballot and have an election. But at first, I think you guys agreed what we did before. Okay, so.
And we will take a break after the highway committee election. Just to relieve the pressure.
Those of you that are interested in serving on the highway committee, please stand up and self-declare. Okay, we have 6 people, and that's fine, then we will certainly put all of those names on a ballot, and I assume we'll. Okay, so let me make sure we have those names, keep standing.
Thompson, Gores, Mosley, Efforts, Nelson, and Manning.
Okay, John, you can talk about this.
You guys can have a seat, and then when I'm done, then you can have a few minutes to explain why you want to get on the highway committee. So this process is a little bit different than what we just did for the leadership. For the highway committee, it's chosen by a written and initial ballot. So you have to initial your ballot. You can't have a secret ballot or anything other than leadership. If your ballot is not initialed, when the clerk looks at it, it won't count. So make sure you put your initial on there that you voted. Now there's going to be all 6 people will be listed on the ballot. You will vote for 5. And so you have to get a majority vote in order to be seated on the highway committee. What we'll do is we'll do a ballot, and if anybody receives a majority vote, they'll be seated, and then we will vote for the remaining empty positions. So say 3 people get seated on the first round, there'll be 2 open seats. The remaining folks that did not get elected will be on the ballot for those 2 remaining seats, and we will vote for 2 seats. So we'll explain that as each round goes through until all seats are filled. If there happen to be a majority vote, only for one person, then we'd be voting for 4 remaining seats. So this time you will vote for 5 people on this ballot, and you will initial your ballot.
You don't have to vote for 5. You vote
Up
for
to. Up to 5, sorry.
5. Okay.
Well, you vote for each ballot will be for all unfilled positions, with each supervisor voting for all unfilled positions. So if there's 5 vacant seats, you vote for 5.
First time you had to vote, you had to vote for 5. Are we gonna hear from the?
Why don't we do that right now?
Yes.
Mark Thompson, I've been on the highway committee, I got on 2000 and highway job. I've been working and pushing towards it for time, getting the job built. I would like to continue on so that I can see the end result. I've been on the county, the Wisconsin County Highways Association. I'm on the board of directors. I've been past vice chair, past chair, and I'm still on. I attend monthly meetings, and I've been to Wausau, Stevens Point for the past 20 years. So I would love to continue to be on it, and it's a love of mine, so I do a good job, and it's a non-partisan department. Everybody uses the highways, who you are, so I would appreciate it.
I'm Jim Morris. I have been on the highway committee here now for the past 2 years. I have been involved with roles for quite some time for some reason that I'm on town chairman for the town of Clinton, and I said for 18 years. I have been working with the county highway department for quite some time here with different roles and stuff like that we've had to work with. I also have been involved with in the Turkey School District there. Like I said, I was involved with building the school and stuff like that when I was president of the school board. And so I do know quite a few things that I've been exposed to with construction and stuff like that. So I appreciate your support.
Roberta Mosley, I've been on for two sessions. Everybody says, what do you know about highways? And I was on the city council for 20 years, and we did building, we did roads, we did everything. And we worked with the county at the same time, so I did know quite a few people. I enjoy it very much, and I would like to stay on it. It's gotta be a little bit of the women in that project.
Play that card.
Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Bill Edwards, and I anticipated running, so I wrote a statement up, keep it brief. I retired from the town of Crystal Lake last summer after 42 years of service as road superintendent. I was going to share all of my knowledge of highways with everyone here, but it's getting late, so I don't want anybody to fall asleep. But I'm letting you all know that I would like to use those 42 years of experience to serve on the highway committee. I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Morning again, I'm Gary Nelson, and I've served on a lot of committees with the county, but currently I serve on the Highway Construction Steering Committee, and my passion is with this new facility is going to be incredible. We want to see that through it, and I would like the opportunity to serve on the committee to help with the transition. Prior to my serving on the county board, I was town chair for the township for 24 years, and in that time, we were able to get almost all of our roads paved, and so I'm familiar with a lot of what highway department does, budgets and road construction and digging and equipment, so I appreciate your support for that.
Dale Haney, I've been on the highway committee for the past 10 years. And on the steering committee since you started the project. So very nice thing I'd like to see it fulfilled. See, I'm on board for 51 years, so I've got some experience. And appreciate your support.
We're still streaming live. I got nothing. I'm happy. If you're happy, I'm happy for now. Don't forget to initial your ballot. Please vote for 5. Our rules and procedures say you've got to vote for all the open slots.
Initial is good enough, it says sign.
Initial is good enough.
Well,
Why don't we take a break? It's gonna take a while to tabulate that.
it's 10:35, let's take 10 minutes.
That means across the 10:45.
No, we're not there yet.
We wanna put you in some kind of an office.
Yes, yes.
We'd like to.
I think they want it by the end of the day, you already know. I gotta have it, so to get that all done. I think just.
Okay, everybody back? You're not here, let me know. That's good, okay. Houston, we have a problem. All 6 folks received a majority, so we can do this again. And hopefully we get to the point where we get down to 5, but if not, we'll be doing it again. Bill Efforts received 22 votes. Jim Gores, 22 votes. Dale Henneke, 19 votes. Roberta, 23. Gary Nelson, 23. Mark Thompson, 26. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna give you another ballot. And you can vote for 5 people again, initial it again, and we will see. Louis can tell you that when he got on the highway committee years back, we went through it a number of times before we get down to 5. So that's the way the rules set it up, so unfortunately, that's what we have to do.
We're practicing.
Years ago, we said here for hours. Yeah, we said here for hours, voting.
Yeah.
I don't want to encourage it, but unless somebody can. Over 5, and make sure you initial.
Oh, Jeff, changing the tune.
You have to vote for 5. You're supposed to vote for 5. If it comes up, you only vote for 4, but you've initialed it, you're still gonna count them. But you're supposed to vote for all unfilled seats, so.
There you go. Here's a few extra.
Where did you put brown water?
I guess we were gonna have to.
John Loomis.
Oh, yes, so it's not
I almost expected.
And it doesn't. You would think it would.
But now with my. I would,
They're always coming at
he was out. Yeah, well, I knew
Okay, we have reached the impasse in voting. In the direction of the chair, I'm going to ask that you listen carefully to what I'm proposing. We can continue to vote, or by our rules and procedures, section H1, section 9, amend and suspend rules. These rules may be suspended suspended by a 2/3 vote of all members present. Is it the will of the body, A, to continue to vote until we get where we need to be, because we did change this? Or is the will of the body for somebody to make a motion to suspend the rules and throw out, what we would do then is you throw out the low vote getter, and the 5 people who got the majority of the votes would be elected by a 2/3 roll call vote. They would need a 2/3 roll call vote. So really do this in 2 steps. Number 1, you vote by a 2/3 roll call vote to suspend the rules. Are you with me so far? Then at that, after you suspended the rules, somebody can make a motion to throw out the low vote getter and accept the top 5 tally vote getters for the highway committee. Questions?
Are you gonna re-vote, or are you gonna use one of the previous votes?
We're gonna use this vote, because it's the one we just held. So your choices are to continue to sit here and vote and vote and vote, or go the way I suggested, Mr. Ryan.
I move that we suspend the rules with respect to the election of the highway committee.
I have a motion, second. Second. You have the motion?
Who is the second? Okay.
All right, so now we need a roll call vote to suspend the rules. Right.
Yes. And suspend the rules.
Bob Anderson.
Yes.
Hold up, we have a question, we can't take a vote to answer all the questions.
So John had mentioned earlier that our rules say that you vote for 5, but if you did, your ballot still counted. With the suspension of the rules, we also suspending the rules on voting for 5. I can vote for now 2. They're voting.
But then we have to vote again, Randy, we have to go around and do a ballot.
It's still a majority vote. I'm just asking, you're suspending the rules.
We're gonna suspend the rules and then make a motion as to how to handle the voting. And what Jeff was suggesting is that the top 5 vote getters are elected for the highway committee. You're saying something different, I guess, that could be a motion you could make.
I have a question, do we do the suspend the rules as we're doing, and then we vote?
Right.
Because is it fair to suspend the rules once we've just done a vote, not knowing what the rules are? I don't know, I just have a
That's not a bad idea, that was my question.
Mine too.
So all right, so.
You're approving to suspend the vote now.
Right now, we're only approving to suspend the
Now
rules.
we're just on the rules.
So what do you
We'll
call
talk
it?
about the process
So is
after we do
it
that.
a yes is a suspension?
Yes. Yes, if you vote yes, you're suspending the rules. And then decide how.
That's fine.
Okay,
Good, right? Yep.
Bob Anderson,
Yes.
Stan Buchanan,
Yes.
Audrey Kusler,
Yes.
Bill Efforts,
Yes.
Craig Turcott,
Yes.
Dale Heineke,
Yes.
Bob Rogers,
Yes.
Diane Vaughn is absent. John Banks,
Yes.
Terry Lee,
Yes.
Carolyn Bartlett,
Yes.
Pam Fall,
Yes.
Bill Schradel,
Yes.
Gary Taxell,
Yes.
Yes, he can, get.
Jim Gores,
Yes.
Gary Nelson,
Yes.
Roberta Mosentein,
Yes.
Pete Olson,
Yes.
Kathy Krug,
Yes.
Carol Moen,
Yes.
Brian Langman,
Yes.
Louis Oki,
Yes.
Patty Anderson,
Yes.
Randy Cook,
Yes.
Jerry McRoberts,
Yes.
Marv Thompson,
Yes.
Bun Hanson,
Yes.
Stacy Wenzel,
Yes.
Dana Heller.
Yes.
Okay. The vote is 28 yes, 1 absent to suspend the rules.
Okay, so now that our rules and procedures are suspended as to how we select the highway committee for Barron County. The next motion would be is how do we want to handle it? One suggestion was that we vote again, and the top 5 vote getters are the people that are elected to the highway committee. If there's another suggestion, somebody can bring it up. One?
I would move we do what you just said.
Okay, if we, okay, is that a secretary?
No,
Okay.
I want to add something to that.
Okay, go ahead.
I also think we need to suspend the number of people you vote for, whether it's 3 or 4 or whatever. And then the top 4, or the top 5,
You need a second on.
You know, I know, we're getting, Terry's suggesting something different. So right now, Bond is suggesting that we vote again, top 5 vote getters are become the highway committee. Terry's making, can he make the motion?
But you need to have a second to Ben's motion.
Okay, second by Stacy Wenzel.
Now you can discuss that.
Okay. Now,
Or they, or you can amend, you can amend Bun's, motion until there's somebody has a second.
okay, Terry, did you wanna try to amend that?
Well, I will make a motion to amend it, that you're not required to vote for 5, you can vote for, just vote for 3 or 4 or 1.
Okay, so it's up to the individual's decision how many.
Well, I think we should pick a number, so if you're gonna say 2, then that way it'll call it down in a hurry, and then you'll have to do multiple rounds, but at least you'll get it down to majority.
I will second his amendment, amend the amendment by a minimum, you vote for a minimum of 3.
We have a motion and second amendment, vote for 3. So yeah, is that
Yeah,
your
a
motion, Terry?
minimum.
Yes. That's his second, we need to vote up or down on the amendment or can we amend to the amendment?
Vote on Terry's amendment first.
That is correct.
Okay, so
And as part of the discussion, I'd vote for the amendment.
okay, Stacy, would you go along with that amendment?
Yes.
Okay.
Just have to take the amendment first.
Okay, so we'll take the amendment first. You heard what the first motion was, and they're agreeable to the amendment, but we have to vote on the amendment now. Then Terry made the motion that we're gonna vote for at least 3 people on the highway committee, and that the 5 top vote getters will become the highway committee. And Randy Cook second. Is there any discussion or questions on that? Okay, then, all those in favor of that motion?
There was a question, it's vote for at least.
At least 3.
You could vote for 5.
You can vote for 5, vote for 3, 4, or 5.
Yep.
Or, well, I guess 6. No, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. Okay. So now we're gonna take a vote, call the question on the amendment. Again, that we're gonna vote for 3, 4, 5 people to be on the highway committee. And the top 5 vote getters will become the highway committee, All those in favor of that amendment indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
That's for discussion on the main motion.
Is there any discussion on the main motion? Bond, can you withdraw if you want?
No, you have to vote on the main motion. If you vote on the main, if the main motion passes, then the procedure's been set. So we need to vote yes or no on the main
Okay, so the
motion.
main motion was that we just vote for all, we vote 5 times for the highway committee, and the 5 top vote getters become the highway committee.
No.
Correction, the motion was amended, that we vote for a minimum of 3, which now becomes your main motion as amended.
That's correct. So you're gonna
So we
vote for
don't-
3, yes. That's what you can call it.
Three.
Motion as amended.
We're voting on the amendment.
No, the main motion, now you're voting on, he clarified the amendment, now you're gonna ask for a yes or no vote on the main motion, then we get the vote.
Yeah, but a yes or no on the main motion was,
Well,
It's been amended.
Main motion.
It's been amended, main motion as amended.
oh, okay,
the main motion is.
okay. So we're gonna vote on the main motion as amended by Terry, Supervisor Lee and Supervisor Cook. Which again, you can vote for 3, 4, or 5, the top 5 vote getters will then become the highway committee. Pretty good?
Correct.
Keep me on good. All those in favor of that motion, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, that motion's carried. So now we'll vote again, vote for 3, 4, or 5, the top 5 people are gonna be the highway committee.
Is it?
We guys were just talking. However. Thank you.
I like this.
Still initial up, right? Yep, still initial.
Oh, yeah, it was.
We need to take
Gary, it's 70 degrees up here. It's time to come home.
Yeah, it's about 90 degrees here, so.
It's gonna get too hot for you.
Yeah.
Okay, we got one going forward for two. How many are we got? It said 3, 4, or 5.
We said no, no. 3, 4, or
September.
Gary does not get the point. He's not moving speed, so he's got to be easy.
Texas.
There you go, ready to slide the camera.
Sure, absolutely.
You want more blue and yellow?
Yeah, I'll take blue, I'll take yellow.
Pick the line. Peter will.
Hey, as long as we're supposed to be perfect, we got.
Yeah, where's the donuts?
Now you're gonna make a $50,000 line item for donuts. Never heard anyone. I'll take these back. The crumbs are in a squat.
Right side, it's not as bad.
All right, I guess we can.
We have results for the highway committee.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Those being elected to the highway committee are Bill Efforts, Jim Gores, Dale Heineke, Roberta Mosentine, and Marv Thompson. Okay.
Read that again.
5 being elected to the highway committee are Bill Efforts, Jim Gores, Dale Heineke, Roberta Mosentine, and Marv Thompson.
Okay, that's set for the highway committee, then, those 4 of the existing ones plus, Bill Evans. Thank you, everybody. Okay, and I'd like to request a parliamentary decision by the chair, which is me, to move the item number 17A, 17 on our agenda, to item 10E, because the sheriff has to go somewhere, so I'd like to move that, and motion by Supervisor Olson, seconded by Supervisor Gores.
Hold on a second.
Okay, if we do that, I'm gonna do a voice vote, and then if it's unanimous, we can do it. If it isn't, we'll have to go a roll call of 2/3.
So who made the motion?
Pete and then Jim made a motion that we
Gores. So
Yep.
Wilson and Gores.
requested a parliamentary decision by me to move the item number 17 to 10. If we get a unanimous, we'll pass. If we don't, then we have to do a roll call of 2/3. Okay, so I'll call on question, all those who would allow that item number 17 to be moved to 10E, indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, it's unanimous, so we'll move 17 now. Are we ready for that? Yes? So item number 17, it's a resolution authorizing the encumbrance and an expenditure of an amount not to exceed $488,312, the American Rescue Plan Act funding for snowmobile and ATV/UTV bridge repairs and snowmobile trail grooming equipment. There was a Deputy Wolf did a nice job on this, as was indicated in Jeff's update. They did, inspections of of those, 10 bridges and found deficiencies in them. And once we know that the bridges were deficient, we're going to need to repair them because people are gonna be using them, we can't just let them sit. And with our ARPA money, what we're trying to do is it's one-time money that is gonna be paid for the future by a lot of people. So we're trying to get when we spend that money, it's for things that are long-term lasting for our company. And the repair of those bridges would be an item, so. Can I get a motion to approve that resolution? Motion by Supervisor Anderson, second by Supervisor Hanson.
Which Anderson?
Bob. Is there any discussion?
And who was the second?
That's one. Any further discussion on that? If not, all's in favor of approving that resolution, keep saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
We do roll call now, gotta have roll call.
It's 2/3.
Oh, it's 2/3, you're right.
Is everyone ready? Stan Buchanan.
Yes.
Audrey Kuzlik.
Yes.
Bill Edwards.
Yes.
Craig Turcott.
Yes.
Dale Heineke.
Yes.
Bob Rogers.
Yes.
Diane Vaughn is absent. John Day.
Yes.
Terry Lee.
Yes.
Carolyn Bartlett.
Yes.
Pam Fall.
Yes.
Bill Stradle.
Yes.
Gary Taxell.
Yes.
Jim Gores.
Yes.
Gary Nelson.
Yes.
Roberta Mosenty.
Yes.
Keith Olson.
Yes.
Kathy Crew.
Yes.
Carol Moen.
Yes.
Fran Langman.
Yes.
Louis Oki.
Yes.
Patty Anderson.
Yes.
Randy Cook.
Yes.
Jerry McRoberts.
Yes.
Mark Thompson.
Yes.
Von Hansen.
Yes.
Stacy Wenzel.
Yes.
Dana Heller.
Yes.
Bob Anderson.
Yes.
And that carries on 28 yes and 1 absent vote.
Okay, so the resolution is passed, thank you. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Thanks for running and getting the stuff too. We got some water up there too. Okay, item number 11, resolution. Again, now, most of these, well, it's gonna be a 2/3 roll call vote for this one too. Resolution authorizing the use of unassigned fund balance for the temporary special prosecutor position in the Barron County District Attorney's Office. Now, this is not ARPA funds, this is unassigned fund balance. For the new members, Barron County is fortunate in that we're financially strong. We, if we have a fund balance that is over 33% of our expenditures, we allocate those funds somewhere, but we keep a 33% of our expenditure in our fund balance. So that we can weather any storms or anything that comes up unusual here with this. So that's the importance of unassigned fund balance in our general fund. This is a very unusual situation. I think you pass out the letter that DA Wright, handed out. He did speak to the executive committee, went into great detail about this. Jeff French, our administrator, talked to the state about having the state kick in to cover half the cost of a special prosecutor. Just so you know, special prosecutor, that's really the state's expenditure, that's their tab, we shouldn't be paying for this. They are supposed to do this, but if we don't do it, the state's policy is that you're just not gonna fill it. And we're so busy now that our DA Wright could not be here today. And it's going to only get worse. So he gave a very good explanation of why we need to fill this position. And with Jeff and DA Wright talking to the state, they agreed to pay for half of that position. Now, the worst case scenario is gonna cost us, half the position is roughly, well, it costs us $40,000 a year if he's deployed for 2 years. If he isn't, Jeff and Jody will control that expenditures, the state is going to pay it, or bill us quarterly, and then we pay that. But again, just full disclosure, it's a state expenditure, but we've helped out in that department before. The state is real good at mandating things and not funding it to us. And this is a special thing, we're actually asking to use our fund balance to cover this, but I think it's important that we do it personally because of the health and the safety of our Barron County residents. We don't want people sitting in jail or not being in jail and running around doing things they're not supposed to do. So, okay, I guess first, I asked for, you already had the motion.
No, bring it on the floor.
Okay, a motion to approve that resolution. Motion by Supervisor Banks, seconded by Supervisor Buchanan. Okay, is there further discussion? Carol?
I just want to make a comment, I made this comment at the exec, and I think Jeff has done a great job of trying to work through this. I guess I'm just truly disappointed in the fact that the state has this money budgeted. Someone is going to be unavailable for a year due to military, and the fact that we have to pay half of the bill. I'm going to support this all the way because it's about the safety of the Barron County and supporting Chris and all the work he does. They talked about 300 to 400 cases per individual in the district attorney's office, and that's at all times. That's not just per year, that's at all times. So, but I just wanna say, I'm gonna still on the backside pursue some of the legislatures because I'm really disappointed in the fact that it is a budgeted item and we have to pay half the bill. I believe in it, I truly believe in it, but I struggle with the fact that they said no. I understand if it's a 30-month stint or a 30-day stint or a 60-day stint, this is a year. And so, I don't know, but I think Jeff has done what he can do.
Yeah, they've never done this before. Supervisor Shredder?
This is a vote of Chris, so this will be contingent upon the need, right? I mean, how long temporary is not really.
It'll be for the year, for the whole deployment that he's gone, we don't see a reduction in cases.
Right.
Both from DHS and the sheriff's department, they cover a lot of DHS cases.
So he gotta go back into the military.
He's active, he was activated, he's actually gone, he actually was gone.
80,000 and 40,000 a year would be the worst case scenario, but it's not that. But the state won't do it unless we commit.
I agree with Carolyn.
I do too.
It's not right.
Supervisor Olson.
Along the lines of what Carol was saying, Bill, and we had conversations with Dave Armstrong, with Janet Julia, we made efforts to get this dealt with at the state level. And this, we're facing it, but we're not the first one to fight it.
DA Wright lost two people from his office in a very short time. And he's going to hire back one graduating from college in May. And this came up in when I requested this to the state of Wisconsin, the reply was, we don't do this under any circumstances. When there's a vacancy due to military deployment, it's the responsibility, you pick up the slack. And I talked to Mr. Minch, and actually Mr. Minch, myself, and DA Wright. And I said, well, let's call them back and see if we would split the baby, so to speak, if they'd be amenable. And it took them 30-some days to do that. I just didn't have the time to I'm not gonna call that, I need to solve the problem. Well, I didn't want to do DA Wright.
And we will do that.
I just say, I think I need to follow up.
Do that.
Supervisor Roddy.
And if I'm not mistaken, DA Wright said that based on caseload, Barron County is rated for 6 district attorneys. We had 4, we're down to 2. We can't stall out the legal system. It's gonna be tough enough as it is.
In the event that they don't pay their half, we're responsible for the other half.
Well, they're gonna pay them, and they bill us. We're the ones who would default. Supervisor Hanson.
The good news is our sheriff's department is efficient in keeping the pipeline full of people that.
Any further discussion? Okay, if not, we'll need to do a roll call vote, and again, we need 2/3, which is 20 votes.
For those of you that are new, just if you're wondering, I'm not randomly picking names, basically your names are all in a list and it gets rotated each time. Audrey, you're first, sorry. I know.
Yes.
Bill Evans,
Yes.
Craig Turcotte,
Yes.
Dale Heineke,
Yes.
Bob Rogers,
Yes.
Diane Vaughn is absent, John Banks,
Yes.
Gary Lee,
Yes.
Carolyn Bartley,
Yes.
Pam Pop,
Yes.
Bill Stradle,
Yes.
Gary Taxell,
Yes.
Jim Gores,
Yes.
Gary Nelson,
Yes.
Roberta Mosenty,
Yes.
Pete Olson,
Yes.
Kathy Krug,
Yes.
Carol Moen,
Yes.
Fran Langman,
Yes.
Louis Oki,
Yes.
Patty Anderson,
Yes.
Randy Cook,
Yes.
Jerry McRoberts,
Yes.
Mark Thompson,
Yes.
Von Hansen,
Yes.
Stacy Wenzel,
Yes.
Dana Heller,
Yes.
Bob Anderson,
Yes.
Dan Buchanan.
Yes.
Okay, carried on 28 yes and 1 absent.
So, resolution carried, thank you. Item number 12, update on the highway facility.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair,
Yep. Gary?
I have to leave the meeting, so we'll all see you in May.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Stay hot.
Yeah, okay, bye.
Yeah, hit him straight. Good lead in.
You're killing me, Smalls. Morning.
Morning.
So, just a brief update where we're at with the highway facility. Disappointed that the weather's not cooperating with us. It's been kind of a muddy mess to work in, but the work continues. The majority of the precast wall panels on the main facility are now set. The ones that are not set need to be left out so that there was access for the cranes. This is about a month and a half old, these videos. We now have the administration area, the roof is framed in and the decking is on, the steel decking is on top, so then they can start putting on the insulation and the roofing. The administration area, in the area of the mechanics, which is this area right here, the mechanic and shop area. The roof joists are all set in there, so every 3 feet or 4 feet, there's a roof joist in there. They're starting to put the decking on that now. And in the area where the parts room is, there's a concrete mezzanine deck over the top of that. Underneath that, now they're working, that's heated, and they're working on getting all the underground work done in their electrical and plumbing, and then they can start putting concrete floors. So, there's gonna be a lot of changes that you're gonna see in the next month there. In terms of the roof, there's a lot of traffic on the site right now, a lot of different trades working. I think we have 7 different contractors on site right now. It's an interesting challenge to keep the highway department functioning with all this going on around us. And my staff's done a wonderful job keeping that going and managing the facility project along with our normal operations. So, just a couple of reminders. If you'd like to see what's going on out there, don't just drop in on the site and drive around funky.
How about Jim?
It's funner to point out that funky had mud on our cars. But we can arrange, if you really want to come and see what's going on, get a hold of me, and we can arrange a site visit for you. Obviously, I would rather do that a few times than 29 individual times, but I'll do what we need. Jeff and I have been talking about, in the near future here, when the weather's nice, we talked about visiting some of the other departments that we would take the county board out prior to a meeting, maybe May or June, depending on schedule, and you can have a tour of the site and see what you're building. That would be in the evening, there wouldn't be any construction going on, so that would kind of make it a little safer for everybody wandering around too. Because right now, we've been told our staff, stay out of the buildings. I don't go in the building unless I have on a vest and a hard hat, and I'm accompanied by the construction manager. Just wandering around the construction site with all the stuff that's going on right now. As they put the steel decking over the top of the joists, they actually use an impact nailer to nail those decks down. And on occasion, they miss the top of that joist, so that screw comes flying down, so that when somebody is working underneath, we don't have anybody working underneath. So that's really where we're at. If you have any
like to come and see the site, get hold of me, like I say, but I'd sure like to have more than one person who sets something up. But we will get the county board there, so
I think it's scheduled for July.
July, okay.
Any questions
We'll
for,
have to talk about that, you may have me at NACO at that time.
okay, well, we'll figure it out.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. I also tell us about the auditorium.
Tape and texture's done at the auditorium, they're waiting for the desk to be, finished. Hopefully you'll vote to set aside the money to put in new seating, because that seating that we had there is definitely junk. And that would be, if you approve it today, we'd order it immediately, and Wendy's telling me we'll probably not get the new chairs till August, and those are gonna be sourced locally. We're not buying them out of country, they're from a manufacturer out of Illinois and Michigan, they're gonna be manufactured in Michigan. Steve, when the property committee discussed this, Mr. Rinzig was chair at the time, Steve said he's gonna do everything to make sure he got this sourced locally, didn't have to wait for shipping, so if you approve this, it's gonna be manufactured in the Midwest. So the auditorium, it'll probably be done by May 1st, but I don't know if we're gonna have seating, so we might have to meet 110 for a couple months till we get things worked out. Can't change shipping.
Any questions on that? If not, we'll go on to item number 13, ordinance designating additional portions of the county highways as ATV routes. That, you saw the ordinance in there, just so you know that, it's something the highway approved quite a while ago. We, being the county board, should have approved it, but somehow it slipped through the cracks. It's just, what it's doing is designating certain areas of the county that we can put ATVs and UTVs on, but it's only for connectivity. So it's the policy that's been just as for as far as long as I know. Officer Wolf and Mark Survey sit down and they figure out the areas that they need to open on the county only if there's need for connectivity, not to be able to run your, to the trail and avoid trailering it, but it's actually due to connectivity between trails. So this is something that should be passed. For full disclosure, next time we meet, we'll be talking a whole different thing. We're actually, there's discussions being had about opening up all county roads to UTVs, ATVs. On April 21st at 8 o'clock, law enforcement will be taking this up. Let's see, the highway, 8 o'clock on May 4th, we take up this thing, so May 5th. So those two committees will be taking up the matter of the full thing, that's not what I'm talking about here. So I'm just want to let you know. So anyway, could I get a motion to approve the ordinance designating the additional portions of the county highways as ATV routes? Motion by Supervisor Strano, seconded by Supervisor Heineke. Is there any discussion on that? If not, all in favor of passing that ordinance? Let's see, where are we? All those in favor of passing that ordinance, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by the same sign? Yeah, that ordinance carries. Item number 14, zoning ordinance amendment. It's got A and B here, but I'd like to see two separate motions. First one, A, would be rezoning the town of Maple Grove for Joni and Henry Kaufman. As indicated in the information there, could I get a motion to approve that rezoning? Motion by Supervisor Hanson, seconded by Supervisor Mosentein. Any discussion on that? Not all those in favor of approving that rezoning on 14A, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. And the zoning is approved. Item number 14B, repealing and recreating section 17.17, subparagraphs 5, 17.31, 17.36, subparagraph 2, subparagraph N, and 17.38, amending section 17.08, 17.36, 17.90, and creating section 17.37, subparagraph 2 and Q, and 17.74, subparagraph 6 of the Barron County Land Use Ordinance. And as you indicated in there, is this, Dave, still here? is this related to the farm preservation map, or is it just encompass all things that you're updating for this? Would you want us to just speak to that for a minute, Dave?
The sections that are being repealing and recreating, that encompasses the Marion County Land Use Ordinance, the multiple sections that we are making amendments to.
Does anybody have any?
We don't have a motion.
Need a motion to repeal and recreate those sections. Motion by Supervisor Rogers, seconded by Supervisor Thompson. Is there any discussion on those amendments? Supervisor Cook?
Yes, I did talk to Dave briefly, the tourist rooming house. If I just get a little bit of background, on that, I mean, again, I've been involved in boards and sometimes we're very specific, sometimes it's ambiguous, and sometimes that works for both. What prompts this, what is a tourist? If I have a cabin in Barron County, and you call me and say, Randy, I'm bringing some family in, I wanna be able to rent your cabin. And I say, yes, are you a tourist? How is that zoned?
It actually started in my district on Red Cedar Lake. And people were renting out their homes with, no rules. They just did whatever they wanted to, 4th of July every weekend, the neighbors were nuts. So Red Cedar, the town of Red Cedar Lake came up with an ordinance, and they all worked with Marion County. Dave Gifford did a great job with he and his staff, coming up with a tourist room, incorporating a tourist rooming house into our ordinances. What it does is that we used to get a lot of, I've been on Board of Adjustment who approves these, and you get a room full of people say, hey, I don't want that tourist rooming house next to me, because you're able to rent it out and have people there, but there's a whole set of rules that these people have to comply with. And one of the most important ones is there's a placard at the end of the driveway that if you don't if there's noise and there's creating a disturbance, you can call the Marion County Sheriff's Department and they come out and take care of it. Eventually, that tourist rooming license can be repealed. So there's a lot of rules and regulations that are set by the tourist rooming house, and Board of Adjustment adheres to them. They actually have to come in front of the Board of Adjustment. They're questioned, and then eventually, well, we've only turned one of those down, and that's in the process, I think, being returned back because the state wants tourism and recreation and economic development. So they're basically saying you can't turn down a tourist rooming house, you can put restrictions on it. So that's kind of the quick, anything, that's all I know. Any other further questions Dave should answer?
Again, so this doesn't prevent, it talks about campers and those types of things. It doesn't prevent me as a owner on a lake, having a cabin, allowing out-of-state friends to use it, to park a camper there for a weekend.
No, I don't know about the camper, Dave. Can they do that?
Okay, so as far as the tourist rooming house, as Mr. Oakey indicated, it was about 2006 we incorporated that into our ordinance as a special exception. And the reason we brought it to the ordinance because it was the uncontrolled use of rental properties. There were, multiple, one family would rent the residence, and then the multiple families, they call up brothers and sisters, and all of a sudden you've got 20, 30 people. So how we approached it back in 2006 was simply trying to control the use. And we control the use by the size of the existing septic system. If it's sized for a 3-bedroom home, we limit the use of that property to accompany the size of the septic system. We have different rules of operation that they have to provide us a rules of operation through the special exception process. It has worked very well over the years. We eliminated complaints considerably. And through this ordinance, in a manner to control the use, we have prohibited the use of recreational vehicles and tenting. So the property to be used for a tourist rooming house is utilizing the principal structure, the house, not the detached structure like a garage or the loft. it's specific to that residential use. When you talk about recreational trailer use, that's a whole different issue in particular zoning districts. But for discussion right now, as far as the use of a home for a tourist rooming house, we regulate that by the number of bedrooms. And the property owner, when they apply for the permit to operate, they have to provide us with documentation of their septic system. It could be an existing septic system permit that indicates that it was sized for 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, and then we work the numbers to tell them here's the maximum that you're allowed, the maximum you can advertise for. Okay? So, for this 2006 roughly, and to currently, these have been special exceptions where they have to apply to the Barron County Board of Adjustment, go through a public hearing process. And over the years, we have passed all of these special exceptions. They meet the criteria. And when you look at a special exception, the basic idea of a special exception, it's for those situations that are unique situations that need to be considered for conditions of approval. But with the tourist rooming house, they're basically the same thing. There's nothing unique about them anymore. So rather than going through a special exception process, we're allowing this as a permitted use. And the way current state law is, it indicates that any residential structure, regardless of district, zone or unzoned, is allowed to be, you're allowed to use that for short-term rental. We use the term tourist rooming house. We have worked closely with Stacy and her department as far as coordinating to make sure that they follow through with their licenses. They have to have their license before we issue the land use permit to operate, that business permit. So all of that's built into this. So the bottom line is what we've tried to accomplish is controlling the use of these properties. Because the state indicates that we shall not prohibit, but it also indicates that the municipality may regulate. We don't have to. Okay, that's the other aspect. This has worked out very well for a number of years, and it's something that it's a trend across the country. This is how people are utilizing their properties. So that answers a lot of your questions.
I still want a question, the $450 fee is a one-time fee?
It's a one-time fee until it's a change of ownership, okay? Because the permit does not transfer. We want to go through this process so every individual understands the rules that apply to.
Supervisor Banks.
How many tourist rooming houses are in Barron County?
Currently, we have about 60, okay? But that's in zoned and unzoned areas.
60 legal.
That's a correct statement. Supervisor Tucson.
One of the things I noticed as I read through that there's a restriction on parking. So you can have a house and not have adequate parking off-street if it's your residence. But if you turn it into a tourist, you have to have adequate parking off-street.
We have that because what we do, once again, the whole idea of this was the use shall be quote unquote incidental to the neighborhood. It's no different than the property owner utilizing that. And so to have the off-lot parking, it doesn't cause issues with neighboring property owners. All of a sudden now there's boats and everything else lined up in the street. So when they apply for this permit, we want to make sure that there's adequate parking so that the use of that residence is associated with that property. It's not going to be a hindrance to other neighboring properties. That's the intent.
And that's why the tourist rooming house doesn't get opposition anymore, because they're more controlled in your neighborhood, just goes crazy.
So as we approve these, approve or disapprove this ordinance, are the fees included, or is that a separate item? I know we have a list of the fees, I was just curious, is this fee schedule within the ordinance, or is this,
The fee schedule.
Is that a separate approval?
The fee schedule is separate from the ordinance, but it requires approval through the zoning board. We're unique with the zoning office that our permits have to be approved through the county board.
That's not, we've already approved that fee schedule. Oh, we have? So do we need a separate motion for that to be approved, or is that part of this?
it should be part of the whole package.
Okay, so that's not what you're asking.
I'm just asking if this is in the ordinance,
Yes,
or is, because I know we've approved fee schedules otherwise, separately.
so the fee schedule is included in the ordinance that we're approving.
You're approving the ordinance and the fee schedule, so the now therefore clause on line 30, 29 and 30. You're approving all those ordinance changes and the fee schedule that's attached to the ordinance package.
Supervisor Rod?
I will say, earlier this month, on April 6th, we did have the public hearing on all of these amendments, and there was a terrific exchange, good exchange of information between the public and Dave and his staff. A lot of it was directed toward the tourist rooming house thing, and when we closed that, all of the public was very satisfied with how this ordinance read.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Guess we'll need a motion and. I do have. Now do we need that simple majority? Okay, so we've got a motion and a second to approve and repeal and approve all the things we were just discussing here in our part of 14B. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor of approving that, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. And motion is carried. Item number 15, Fair Housing Proclamation. That's something I just received and it was approved by our Barron County Housing Authority and it's included in your packet. Need a motion to approve that proclamation. Good. Motion by Supervisor Mullen, second by Supervisor Nelson. Is there any discussion relative to that? Not all those in favor of approving the Fair Housing Proclamation, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Thank you. Item number 16. This one is just a simple majority because it is just an encumbrance. The resolution authorizing the encumbrance of an amount not to exceed $3.5 million of the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA funding, the Barron County Housing Authority rehabilitation of apartment complex. Now that item number 16, there's a little discussion in there, but let's get, I get a motion to approve that. Motion by Supervisor, first second by Supervisor Gore. Okay, this is a big deal. We've got 70 apartments that are owned by Barron County and they're dated back in the 70s. They're in need of major rehabilitation. We're talking about $100,000 a unit or so, Gary. So, you know, $7 million. There's a program that a grant process we're applied for that will get huge investors. Let's just use Verizon, AT&T, big corporate customers who get, they get green credits per se, Gary, and so they get extra ways to reduce their taxes if they put money in this and help to redo it. There's a very big bidding process for it. A lot of times southeast Wisconsin, Dane County, Milwaukee County are very proficient in this, get a lot of that money. We've hired, Barron County at the Housing Authority, hired a professor, Tom Landgraf out of Madison, who's done a lot of these, and he's got several of them approved. His references are very high. His recommendation, if we put in $3.5 million into this project, that's something that's very unusual. Other applicants don't do that. It gives us a decent success rate. Nothing has happened yet, we're going through the steps, but it's not, this is only for part of that step that we as a board are saying, if this application is approved, we're willing to kick in $3.5 million of our ARPA money. Again, using one-time funds to fix up apartments for a long time in the future. So that's the history of it. Jody's got a list on this later, I think it was in your package, showing the commitment for our ARPA funds. That $3.5 million is not yet off that because we haven't approval. And that's what this motion would do is encumber it. Now, we're not spending the money yet, but we're encumbering it so that the state knows that we've got some funds and we're willing to put our money where our mouth is. Is there any further discussion on this? This was the business and encumbrance. Just majority, so no further discussion. All in favor of approving that resolution, indicate by saying aye. Aye. All saying aye. Motion carried, thank you. 17 we did, 18. That's a resolution authorizing the encumbrance. Okay.
It says 2/3.
It says 2/3, but that's not right. We wrote a bunch of these in order, and if we had some with the expenditures that need 2/3, we'll just change that.
Oh, no, 18.
Yeah, but she's talking about the encumbrance. It's
Oh, yeah.
marked as 2/3 and it doesn't need to be. Okay. We have Supervisor Cook is asking how much. We've gotten 4.4 million. We'll get another 4.3 million, that will be 8.77.
Yes, there's a page in your packet that does a good job of Jody put in there detailing it. We're supposed to get 8.7 million, we've got 4.4. It shows what we've encumbered already, which is only 676,000. But with this and our bridges and this seating at the auditorium, we'll have a balance off of 4 million. And now we still haven't talked about our other bridges and we haven't talked about Ann Street schools. Money's going. Okay, so this is a resolution authorizing the encumbrance and expenditure of not to exceed $100,000 of American Rescue ARPA funding for the Veterans Memorial Auditorium and seating. And we do need a 2/3 roll call vote on that. Did I get a motion to approve that resolution? Motion by Supervisor Olson, seconded by Supervisor Langman. Is there any further discussion relative to that? Now we'll take a roll call vote. We need 20 votes.
This is the auditorium one, right?
Yep.
All right. Craig Turcott,
Yes.
Dale Heineke,
Yes.
Bob Rogers,
Yes.
Diane Vaughn absent, John Banks,
Yes.
Carrie Lee,
Yes.
Carolyn Bartlett,
Yes.
Pam Pau,
Yes.
Bill Schradel,
Yes.
Gary Taxell, he's absent now, Jim Gores,
Yes.
Gary Nelson,
Yes.
Berta Mosentein,
Yes.
Pete Olson,
Yes.
Kathy Crew,
Yes.
Carol Moen,
Yes.
Fran Langman,
Yes.
Lou Yoki,
Yes.
Patty Anderson,
Yes.
Randy Cook,
Yes.
Jerry McRoberts,
Yes.
Barb Thompson,
Yes.
Vernell Hanson,
Yes.
Stacy Wenzel,
Yes.
Dana Heller,
Yes.
Bob Anderson,
Yes.
Dan Buchanan,
Yes.
Audrey Pusley,
Yes.
Bill Efforts.
Yes.
And that carried with 27 yes and 2 absent.
Thank you. Item number 19, again, a 2/3 roll call vote. Resolution authorizing the appropriation and transfer of $7,500 within the 2022 capital improvement outlay fund, that's CISA, for the Thorn remediation project at the University of Wisconsin Eau Claire/Barron County campus. What's going on there is there's a lot, as Jeff's memo indicated, there's a lot of buckthorn there. The Rotary in Rice Lake is willing to work with us, and it's on our property by the campus, and they're asking for $7,500 from us. Yes, we'll take it from one hand and put it in the other, but still, we're spending money, so. Did I get somebody to approve that resolution? Motion by Supervisor Heller, seconded by Supervisor Bartlett. Is there any discussion relative to that? Yeah, we gotta go 2/3 roll call vote.
And this is for the 7,000 transfer side of the budget.
Yes.
Dale Heineke,
Yes.
Bob Rogers.
Yes.
Diane Vaughn absent, John Banks.
Yes.
Terry Lee.
Yes.
Carolyn Bartlett.
Yes.
Pam Paul.
Yes.
Bill Schradel.
Yes.
Gary Taxell. Jim Gores.
Yes.
Gary Nelson.
Yes.
Roberta Mosentine.
Yes.
Pete Olson.
Yes.
Kathy Cruz.
Yes.
Carol Moore.
Yes.
Brian Langman.
Yes.
Louis Oki.
Yes.
Patty Anderson.
Yes.
Randy Cook.
Yes.
Jerry McRoberts.
Yes.
Mark Thompson.
Yes.
Von Hansen.
Yes.
Stacy Wenzel.
Yes.
Dana Heller.
Yes.
Bob Anderson.
Yes.
Sam Buchanan.
Yes.
Audrey Kusilek.
Yes.
Bill Efforts.
Yes.
Craig Turcott.
Yes.
Okay, that would be 27 yes and 2 absent.
Thank you. Motion passed. Resolution. Item number 20, resolution to purchase a hydraulic lift for the new highway facility. To the tune of $80,000. Jeff did a real nice job explaining how we got to the point we're at. The biggest thing is that the plan is to pay for the lift from the performance maintenance monies currently in the highway fund. In the event these funds are left over from the bond at completion of the project, we'll replenish the PBM funds. Mark's gone here, but, okay, motion by Supervisor Gore, seconded by Supervisor Heineke to pass that resolution. Our highway commissioner has done an excellent job along with the highway department of turning that highway department around to where we've got fund balance inside the highway. In regards, we were talking about our overall county fund balance we have, but the highway department has a huge fund balance as well. And that's there for reasons like our weather we got here. We're blowing through our snow budget for this year is probably gone already. You know, we got a few months to go. Yeah, so the highway department's done an excellent job there. We've got the highway committee as well. The highway facility steering committee is very diligent as well. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is these things are really vetted. So I know it's hard sometimes when you come to the board meeting, maybe you haven't been on one of those two committees, you wonder what the hell, another $80,000. But there's reason for the proposing it, so. Is there any discussion? Yeah, again, we'll need a 2/3 roll call vote.
Bob Rogers.
Yes.
Diane is absent, John Banks.
Yes.
Terry Lee.
Yes.
Carolyn Bartlett.
Yes.
Pam Paul.
Yes.
Bill Schradel.
Yes.
Gary Taxell, absent. Jim Gores.
Yep.
Gary Nelson.
Yes.
Roberta Mosentine.
Yes.
Pete Olson.
Yes.
Kathy Cruz.
Yes.
Carol Moore.
Yes.
Brian Langman.
Yes.
Louis Oki.
Yes.
Patty Anderson.
Yes.
Randy Cook.
Yes.
Jerry McRoberts. Mark Thompson.
Yes.
Brunel Hanson.
Yes.
Stacy Wenzel.
Yes.
Dan Heller.
Yes.
Bob Anderson.
Yes.
Sam Buchanan.
Yes.
Audrey Kusilek.
Yes.
Bill Efforts.
Yes.
Craig Turcott.
Yes.
Dale Heineke.
Yes.
Okay, that would be again the 27 yes and 2 absent.
Okay, number 21 is again 2/3 roll call vote, resolution, the final budget adjustments to close out the 2021 accounts. Again, Jeff did a good job explaining his memo. Can I get a motion to approve that resolution? Motion by Supervisor Rogers, second by Supervisor Fall. Is there any further discussion? If not, let's take a vote. But again, we need 20 votes, yes votes.
Diane is absent. John Banks.
Yes.
Terry Lee.
Yes.
Carolyn Bartlett.
Yes.
Pam Paul.
Yes.
Bill Schradel.
Yes.
Gary Taxell, absent. Jim Gores.
Yes.
Gary Nelson.
Yes.
Roberta Mosentine.
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Kathy Cruz.
Yes.
Carol Moore.
Yes.
Brian Langman.
Yes.
Louis Oki.
Yes.
Patty Anderson.
Yes.
Randy Cook.
Yes.
Jerry McRoberts.
Yes.
Mark Thompson.
Yes.
Von Hansen.
Yes.
Stacy Wenzel.
Yes.
Dan Heller.
Yes.
Bob Anderson.
Yes.
Sam Buchanan.
Yes.
Audrey Kusilek.
Yes.
Bill Efforts.
Yes.
Craig Turcott.
Yes.
Dale Heineke.
Yes.
Bob Rogers.
Yes.
Okay, that again is a 27 yes and 2 absent.
Item number 22, the ARPA funds expenditure update. Jody's gonna explain that, but if you want, it's on page 72 of your packet. If you want to print it out, keep track of it for the future, you can certainly do so. Go ahead, Jody.
And I will be updating this every month. So, with the resolutions that you passed, they will be added to the list, and so you will be able to see them there next month. As Louis had said earlier, we were granted just under $8.8 million of ARPA proceeds. Thus far, we've actually received about $4.4 million. We're expected to receive the second tranche of that, which is the remainder, probably in May or June of this year, but we haven't got a definite date, but it's coming. We have it invested in the local government investment pool. And so far, interest rates have been terrible this year, but we've collected about just under $2,000 on that in interest. Going down to the expenditures, so these are the expenditures that we've had going so far. With this, we have been in contact with attorneys, just making sure that everything that we want to spend those dollars on is allowable through the American Rescue Plan Act. We've had some financial advisor fees. We've spent some money on PPE that was done last summer, when we had that last, go around with the extra cases of COVID that were coming in. IT, equipment, a little over $215,000, back in 2021 was encumbered for IT equipment, for basically for aging ADRC, for DHHS, and then for the finance department. Highway maps, we purchased some of those, had those made up, that was to help tourism, as was ATV and snow trail maps. We've also had $400,000 to go and help with the Highway T Vermilion Creek Bridge, and that was approved late in the year. We've had about $10,000 for highway speed signs, which is to help in tourist areas down by Chautauqua. Just recently, in one of the last couple of county board meetings, you approved well water testing, which is gonna be a program that's gonna be happening over the next year or two. And then we have talked about the rehabilitation in previous meetings, but that was actually encumbered at this meeting. So we'll be adding that along with these other things onto the list. So far, as of the end of March, total expenditures, we had encumbered about $676,000, spent $168,000, and then you can see our balances here. And we still had over $8 million to encumber, and then of the cash that we actually have, about $4.225 million yet to be spent. So stay tuned. We'll just kind of see as some of these projects pick up. We do have until, let's see, December 31st of 2024 to encumber all of the dollars, and 12/31 of 2026 to have everything spent and out the door. So this is going to be a future agenda item for quite a long time. So any questions?
Okay, if not, we'll go on, thanks Jody, we'll go on item 23, report from county administrator.
Right, we're gonna do some things here as soon as Jody pulls them up. So let me put some notes on, you can see it there.
Okay, so the first thing we've got up here, we're talking about where money gets spent from accounts payable in the county. So 87% of the money that we spend at the county, 87% of our accounts payable stay in the state of Wisconsin. Okay, so 87% of it stays there. So go on to the next one. Of that, 60% stays within Barron County, 26%, so 86% of this, and there might be a percentage difference in these, stays in Barron County or our contiguous counties, 14%, so 74% stays in Barron County or our contiguous counties, the 14 counties that surround Barron County. So what this tells us is the money that's paid here stays here. Okay, most of our vendors are local. We use local vendors.
So that's the point I'm trying to make. Next one, Julie. Okay, this shows you this a little bit more graphically. Shows you more graphically where, how much money is spent in Wisconsin versus Illinois, Minnesota, Iowa, and across. Now, I always get asked this question, why do we have payments to Georgia and some of these others? Well, some of these are fulfillment centers. When we charge something on a credit card, the fulfillment center is in a different state, so we're cutting a check to that fulfillment center, not necessarily where the purchase was. That's an important characteristic. Next one. That's it. Okay, so that's just information. I always like to share this. Charlotte Kuchko does this every year. I share it a lot of times with Rotary and Kiwanis Club. People really like to see that. So any questions on that? Okay, the next thing I did is we could put together that state tax analysis. And we can hand this over. It's in the packet, but I want to go through this. Okay, what this first thing is from the US Census Bureau, it says that since 1995, our overall tax burden in the state of Wisconsin has dropped. It used to be in the early 1990s, we were in the top 5, actually, states in the union, the highest tax rate. So our tax burden is actually down. The lowest was in 2016, and you can see it's crept up by 0.4%, down from 12.8% or 2.5% lower. So what Forward Analytics would tell you is as a state, we've really dropped from the top 10. We're about in the top. We're still in the top half of all 50 states as far as total taxation. We're about number 21 out of 50, with number 1 being the highest. We're about 21 next to Ohio, not as low as Iowa. So I'm just share that. But now we know what our problem is in this state, but we just absolutely refuse to address it. Number one problem in our state is we rely extremely on property taxes. That's what funds local government. Property tax reliance. If you'll click on that, please. Okay, so if you look at this, you can see that, New Hampshire, so Wisconsin, percent of local revenues that come from property taxes, we're at 33.5%. So 33.5% of funding for local government comes from property taxes in Wisconsin. So we're in the top 21, okay? New Hampshire at 61%. This is a very important thing. So if you look at the percent of local revenue from property taxes plus state aid, we're 8th nationally. So we rely almost exclusively, local government relies almost exclusively in Wisconsin on 2 revenue sources, property taxes and state and federal aid. For us, here at Barron County, we get 37.4% of our revenue from property taxes and 30.20% from operating capital and other ones. So you look at this, 67.6% of our revenue for Barron County comes from these 2 sources. So we're roughly 10% below the state average. Where's that other 10% come from? It comes from sales tax, because we have a 0.5% sales tax. And for you that have been on the board a while, you know that I preach and preach and preach and preach and preach that our sales tax is now a larger driver of our budget than property taxes, because it's going up at a higher percentage rate than what we can raise the property tax levy, because we have levy limits. So we're way more dependent as a county on property taxes, or excuse me, on sales tax than we are property. Yes, property tax is a bigger thing, but as a percentage of increase and a percentage of what's funding operations here at the county, it's sales tax, not property tax. So what does this all mean? We're an outlier as a state. For local government, we really rely only on 2 things: property taxes and the revenue, the bequeathments that we get from state and federal government. Let's go on to the next one. We also know our problem in Wisconsin. We have more overlapping governments than almost any other state in the union. We have more overlapping governments. We're number 16 highest as far as number of overlapping forms of local government in the nation. We have more special districts than any other state. There it is. Next one. Revenues and state aid, okay? This is interesting. Since 2012, revenue sources for the state of Wisconsin have went up 29.7%. For counties, it's went up 15.2%. What does that tell us? It tells us that the levy limits actually work. Okay? That tells us that the levy limits are actually impeding the counties. I'm not gonna talk about school district municipalities, I'm not gonna get into that debate. So, that's very interesting. State aid to counties is went up 17% in that time frame. So, who's got 12.7% more revenue? The state. Okay. So, if you look at what's average CPI, 3.3% for upper Midwest from the Minneapolis Federal Reserve out of Minneapolis. But on average, tax levies went up 1.8. So we're roughly 2.5% below increase in prices from 2012 on. Our percentage increase in our levy should be at or near 3.3%, and it's not. It's about 1.8 or 2. That's just the facts. This isn't argumentative. These are statistical facts from the Census Bureau and from Wisconsin Counties Association. I just want to present this because we know what our problems are. We just don't address them. That's all I got, Mr. Chairman. As far as updates, you have it in there. Everything's in the packet. I want to tell you about the Badger Cliff, the Badger Care Cliff. That's something I think we're going to have a resolution on next month to continue to have that go away. As far as your committee selection form, a couple things I want to bring up on this. Number one, you have to be a veteran to be on the Veterans Committee. You have to be a veteran. The Commission on Aging is, or excuse me, the Aid Commission is no longer meeting because that money went to the fair for electrical improvements. The Housing Commission says 1 county board member, but it's actually 2. I believe Supervisor Nelson and Supervisor Mullen are on that. The Humane Society, we're no longer a member of that. And when you look at this, just label any of these, just label 1, 2, and 3. What's your number 1 choice, your second choice, and your third choice? And then give it to myself or anybody up here, and we'll get it to Wendy and she'll create a spreadsheet and we'll appoint the committees next month. The committees that are standing now will have to stay until next month. That's what I have.
And they do want the yellow sheet, WCA sheet back, as well as your signed notes. The blue sheet, they'd like them back today if you can, if not, get it by the 22nd. And 24, no appointments. 25, claims, petitions, correspondence, in there. Suggestions for future items are listed there. Keep in mind that on July 18th, Mark Survey just indicated that highways facilities may not happen that month, but it will happen. And on August 15th, I will not be able to be here, so I'm going to be discussing that at the May 4th executive meeting that we possibly move that August meeting to August 22nd. Just keep that in mind. And for the new people, it's some kind of system, we got a calendar, because there's a lot of stuff, meetings or things you have to go to. Anyway, closed session, we're gonna push that to.
Does anybody want to do this closed session? I mean, we can do it. It's gonna be another half an hour.
It's gonna take 100% both to do
We need more cookies.
Yeah. We'll do it next time, we can get that figured out. Okay, next meeting will be May 16th at 7 p.m. And the Justice Center tour will be at 5 p.m.
Yes, sure.
Yes. Is there anything else? Not by unanimous consent, we will adjourn at 12:15. Thank you, everybody.